back. Here's a short video on Route 53 and region failover. But first, we'll just very briefly talk about load balancing, which we've already seen. So I've got a web server. The actual full domain's layered security, but here's the server. There's its IP address. And I already set up some load balancing, as we've seen before. So there's my load balancing. Notice that it's load balanced into two different availability zones. So I have one server here and one server in this location, just in case an availability zone goes down. And tested that out, and you can see that it load balanced to another availability zone. I mean, we've seen this, that's fine, great, but what if both availability zones go down? What if the whole region fails for some reason? Well, that's a bigger problem, but there is a solution. So if we jump over to Virginia, oh, not load balancers. I want to jump over to instances. So I brought up this server, and we'll see that that's what pops up. This is the failover region. So let's set that up for my domain layered security. So I'm going to go into, and again, actually, let's just check what layered security looks like. It just pops up with that IP address. So if this region goes down, load balancing is not going to help me out. I'm wanting to fail over to Virginia. We can do that from Route 53. So we'll take a look at my hosted zone that I've already set up. And you're going to set one up as well. So in layered security, I have my primary A record. And there's the type. There's its IP address. Down here, you can see that I've set it as, oh, sorry, the routing policy, very important. We've set it up for failover. And it's the primary. So basically, hey, this is the IP address we're going to be using. If this one fails, then we go to the secondary, which I'll show you in a moment. We also set a health check, and the health check I've set up separately. You can click here. We will in a moment. So it's going to use this health check to tell if the primary is down. If the health check says the server is unhealthy, then it's going to fail over to the secondary. Secondary, if I click here, this is another A record. Everything's the same. Routing policy here, and we've set it as the secondary. We do not need a health check here. If we had a third server, we could add a health check. So now let's take a look at our health checks. Everything's healthy, nice. So, oops, click there, and we can see that there was a dip at one point. Right now, everything looks okay. So that's the IP address that's being checked. If we look at info again, you can see the configuration for it. What's the failure threshold? Some more information right here. Let's go back to the hosted zone for a moment, and we can test our record. We'll put get response, see what happens. So that's good, no error. That's what Route 53 sees, that it's a healthy server, and that's what we're going to get in a response. And we did, there it is. So now let's go to our instances. We're going to jump over to Canada Central, where the layered server is. And we're going to, we're not going to take down availability zones. We're not going to take down the box. We'll actually just change the firewall rules on it, which will make it unhealthy. Change that to some other service for a moment, or we could just delete it. Push save. All right, so now the health checker can't get to the machine because it's not open on that port anymore. So if we go back to Route 53, actually we'll probably have to wait a little bit. Still healthy. So it's still healthy right now, but once the health checker realizes that the server has failed, then hopefully, if I did everything correctly, it will fail over to this IP address. All right. So currently it's here. It'll fail over to this one. And when we do our test record, or test our record, it'll then switch over. So it's still not there. Go to health checks again. Oh, look, right here, something has changed. It's dropped. But remember, if we go to info, so it's got to fail a couple of times. And look at that. I would say that's enough. Let's refresh here. And look, now my site A says that that server is unhealthy. So if we go up to the dashboard, back to our hosted zone, and we are going to test record set again. Let's see. And now look at that. It's now returning this IP address, which is that. So let's open up Chrome, type that, and there you go. We did a S3, or not S3, Route 53 region failover. Awesome.